Sunderland is one of the fattest places in the UK, with 1/3 of adults there being classed as clinically obese. And in Weight Loss Ward, we get to look behind the scenes and see the issues these obese people face every single day. From eating 3 pints of ice cream in a sitting to not leaving the house for years, the patients on this show lead heartbreaking lives. The first patient we meet is Doreen Thomas, who despite her aged appearance, is 56 years old. Before we even really get to know Doreen, we can get a sense for her personality just by looking at her shopping habits.
The beginning of her weight loss journey with Sunderland Royal.
Yes, I'll use that up to date. You've got 4 ham. It's on offer, so I'll have to get it while it's on offer.
I've got plenty of veg.
I get obsessed with looking just for special offers.
We've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 flash.
Well, I've ordered 5 because it's still on offer. I'm high maintenance.
Despite already having 12 bottles of floor cleaner, she orders 5 more just because it's on offer, which to me seems like an indication she potentially has OCD or another similar mental issue, or just really loves a bargain.
Shopping online is wonderful, but if you've got it into your head that you're going to eat anything and everything in front of you, it's a really bad idea.
Doreen is only 4'11" and weighed 430 pounds at her heaviest, which has meant she had to stay downstairs in her house for the past 10 months, living completely alone, being helped to live by her carer. At this point, Doreen probably feels extremely isolated from the outside world, which won't be helping her mental state, and is probably why she spends most of the time shopping and eating, cause there's probably not much else she's able to do. Her only friend and carer is Sharon, who has been told by Doreen not to interfere with what she does.
She's a big girl. She should know what to buy and what not to buy.
You don't interfere.
I don't interfere. I do have a look of disgust when going, really, how, why have you done? She's gone, but it was £1.
Choc options, it's only 40 calories a cup, so I reckon I can have as much as I want of that.
Despite Doreen's clear lack of nutritional education, she has decided that she wants to lose weight and is on the path to do so, and her path involves bariatric surgery. Much like my 600-pound life, Doreen needs to prove to the team that she can lose weight on her own, which she is determined to do.
Having been to Sunderland Royal for an initial assessment, Doreen is now trying to lose weight, to prove to the team that she can make some dietary changes.
Very good.
Look at that. Hey, that's brilliant.
That's 4 pounds in one day.
Doreen isn't the only one who needs to go on a weight loss journey though, with her dog Hope also having piled on the pounds.
This is Hope. It's a bad habit, I suppose, but Hope gets a taste of everything that I eat. But it'll be the size of my thumbnail, maybe. Not a lot, just a taste.
The worst part about that is that if she feeds her dog just a thumbnail-sized portion of her food, yet Hope has ballooned up to 25 kilograms, it makes you wonder how big Doreen's thumbnails are, or just how big the meals that Doreen eats are. Now, we will check back in with Doreen soon to see how she gets on with her weight loss, as the next patient in Sunderland's hospital has actually been trying to get approved for weight loss surgery for 3 years, being denied multiple times for not sticking to her diet.
29-year-old housewife Laura Lamb has been a patient with the weight loss team for 3 years. She's already been refused surgery twice because she failed to hit her targets.
I feel like my eating habits are creeping back up.
Laura has claimed that she gained all of her weight due to a myriad of reasons, which includes losing her childhood best friend 15 years ago, being on antidepressants since then, and postnatal depression. Now, all of these are genuine reasons to feel like your only comfort in life is food. And to add on top of this, she is a full-time housewife with 2 kids, so presumably spends a lot of time in the house with easy access to food, which would explain the pretty rapid weight gain. I do, however, think that, as harsh as it may seem to say this, that Laura has struggled with her weight for quite a long time and might be using these reasons as an excuse for not starting her weight loss journey. As we'll see, she's had specialist help for over 3 years, so it's hard to put it down to a lack of knowledge.
She's been given her date for surgery, but at her last appointment she had failed to reach her weight loss target.
You may have your operation cancelled and you haven't lost your weight.
Yeah.
And she had just 3 days to lose 2 kilos.
A bit right to move.
That's going down to 116.
Should I try it on a different floor?
With only a couple of days to get approved for weight loss surgery, Laura needs to lose 2 kilograms, or just over 4 pounds. I do think it's harsh to have such tight goals for surgery, especially when you can lose 4 pounds on the scale overnight in water weight. However, when you look at the numbers and see that 1 in 3 adults are obese in Sunderland, you do need to prove that you're going to stick to the weight loss plan. Otherwise, half the city would be queuing up for the surgery.
It's D-Day for Laura. She's in hospital for her final weigh-in. If she's reached her target, she'll stay in for surgery. If not, she'll be going home.
Oh, I'm on 2. I've lost another kilo. Just disappeared in the night. See me? I'm gone. Oh. I've starved myself, basically.
After 3 years, Laura's through. Her gastric bypass operation is in the morning.
Despite her previous struggles, she was finally approved for surgery, and it's great to see her finally make progress and be approved for this life-changing process. Now, however, there's a new challenge, actually getting the surgery, and Laura has every right to be nervous, as risks range from internal bleeding, blood clots, and in serious cases could even lead to death.
You look tense. Relax.
I'm sweating. Yeah.
Don't be. We're gonna do a loop bypass on you, right?
Laura's having a new operation called the gastric loop. So far, the surgeons at Sunderland have only performed 40.
Hearing that she's finally been approved for weight loss surgery is genuinely great news, and considering she's fairly young, having the surgery now should prevent her from gaining any more weight in the future. But the same can't be said about Doreen, who's almost 60 years old, meaning that surgery could be extremely risky for her.
Right, Doreen Thomas, she's a 56-year-old lady, height 149, weight 194. She's got a BMI of 87. Does experience breathing difficulties with minimal exertion, has to stop, sit down every 5 to 10 minutes. Some apneic events, has been referred for sleep studies. That's 13 years ago, and there were no facilities to accommodate her weight.
Clever kid.
Does try and carry a chair with her everywhere in case she needs to sit down.
Do you want to go out? Are you coming?
She's got a psychological history of depression since childhood and obsessive-compulsive disorder.
Listening to the doctor rattle off issues that Doreen faces every single day puts her situation into a lot of perspective. And honestly, makes you feel a lot of sympathy for her. Doreen is actually so heavy for her height that she can't make it out the living room into her back garden, with her needing to take a break in her kitchen to regain her breath.
She's going to need a wee bit of work. We're clearly at the early stages of assessing this patient. We need to bring her in. Firstly, to get an idea of what her eating really is like.
Oh, mister.
See if we can get her weight to start coming down. We'll try it and see.
The team wanted to bring Doreen to assess her, and honestly, it seems like they need to bring her in sooner rather than later, as her obesity and her isolation is just getting worse and worse.
Woman.
Getting progressively worse, more quickly every week. Sometimes you can feel the difference in the days. It happens so quickly, and yet not so long ago it wasn't like this.
But luckily, she has an appointment with the doctors soon, and her friend Sharon, who I have to say does seem like a great friend to Doreen, is helping her get there, with Doreen using the garden chair as a walking stick as she makes her way to the taxi, which proves to be a challenge to get in. When she eventually does get to the hospital, she is diagnosed with sleep apnea, which is an extremely common issue in obese people. Basically, the fat around their necks actually closes up the airways when they sleep, which leads to awful sleep and can even cause mental issues such as depression off the back of it, because it just ruins your sleep so much. Doreen sees multiple specialists in the hospital, and for each one she carries her chair in tow, although you'd think that they'd give her a wheelchair to save her dignity slightly. Doreen eventually gets fitted with a CPAP machine, something which is supposed to help her sleep through the night, and is told once she gets her sleep under control, then they can start looking at her weight. Now, before we look at the results of Doreen and Laura's weight loss, something I want to highlight is just how much strain obesity-related illnesses are causing to the NHS. For the Americans who aren't aware, healthcare is free in the UK, 401k and is paid for by general taxation. However, due to a lot of political and social issues, reduced funding has meant that job cuts have occurred throughout the entire NHS, and they have an even further reduced budget, which leads to stress on doctors and patients. If you compound this with the skyrocketing obesity rate, you get a situation which is unsustainable and waiting times of years.
The
I
recovery.
think that's what you need. You need, like, not just a psychologist, you need specialty nurses, a big team of you afterwards to support people through the process.
That would be a utopian dream that we would have. Unfortunately, we don't have the resources in the NHS at the moment. We have one psychologist. There is a resource crunch.
Now back to Doreen, she's getting ready to go to hospital for a week so they can track her and sort of show her what she should be eating. But this is when we get a glimpse into what she was really eating before, and it's shocking to say the least.
As part of Doreen's obsessive-compulsive behaviour is her habit of recording every ounce of food she eats.
January the 6th. 2 baked potatoes, plus 2 chicken and pesto ready meals. That was at 11:15 a.m. At 12:15, an hour later, I had a full litre of white ice cream with a whole Madeira cake. I do like Madeira cake. Then I had 6 chocolate cereal bars. 4:20, I had another box. Then nothing till 4 a.m, which was another 6 chocolate cereal bars. Then I had 135 grams of Maltesers. And then I had a small bottle of wine, Jacob's Creek. They were all on offer. The £1 deals. Just sad.
Now I'm finding it difficult to be too harsh on Doreen, because it seems like she just genuinely has nothing else to live for. She can't do anything other than order food to the house and eat. But for the first time in 30 years, Doreen is spending a night away from her house and going to the Sunderland Royal Hospital for evaluation. And honestly, her truthfulness about her poor diet has to be commended.
Senior dietitian Maureen Boyle has heard of Doreen's little red book.
Oh, this is what I meant to bring when I saw you last time.
Right.
Everything I've eaten since the beginning of the year, down to the last sweet, and I'm totally honest.
Well, I think, where would you say your biggest problem lies then as far as your food's concerned?
Ice cream. Pots of ice cream. And I'd have 2 or 3 every day.
Right. When you say 2 or 3, bowls or?
No, not bowls, boxes
Yes.
of ice cream. We've had lots of days like that. If I just dropped me treats, I'd lose £2 a week.
Right. So what do you class as a treat then?
Pan au chocolat.
Right. And how much would you have of that?
The whole packet of 6.
Right.
As Doreen settles into her hospital bed, she gets fed her first meal. And as far as hospital food goes, it honestly doesn't look awful. However, if she'd signed up the Fat Loss Kitchen, she would be eating a lot better, which is a free weekly newsletter which sends out healthy recipes directly to your inbox. Each meal is calorie counted and is high in protein, so it is perfect if you're on a weight loss journey. The newsletter is completely free, but we've also just released our cookbook, which features tons of high quality recipes for busy people. The link is in the description to sign up, and I highly recommend you check it out because the reviews we've had so far are genuinely amazing. Doreen's time on the show is drawing to a close, and she starts to open up about her feelings about being away from home for so long.
It's very nice. Got my favourite turnip. Made me very happy, that. The gravy's exceptionally nice. It's a really big thing to leave the house and be somewhere different. This is the first time I've been away from home since I had David 37 years ago.
But showing her true English stoicism, or maybe her food addiction, she stops feeling sorry for herself and tells the cameras what she really wants.
Do you know what would go down nice now? Tangerine jelly.
Back to Laura, who successfully had her gastric bypass over 5 months ago. We finally get to see the results of her operation. Before she even steps on the scales, she looks visibly smaller.
Bypass operation. She's back in for a checkup.
I'm getting my coat, everything. Everything that's going to make me lighter coming off.
Stand right in the middle of the scales, all right?
At her heaviest, Laura was nearly 22 stone.
Right, it's just over 14 stone, about 14 stone, £1.
Fab.
All right, is that all right?
Yep.
She's lost 5 stone since her operation 5 months ago.
So obviously the surgery was a massive success and she's lost 70 pounds in 5 months. Now I think this program helps us see the people behind the numbers, because it's easy to say that 1/3 of Sunderland are lazy and that's why they're obese, but as we've seen, there are a myriad of issues which could lead to someone developing this crippling food addiction, such as Doreen's mental issues or Laura's trauma. There's no quick way to fix this, and unfortunately the problem seems to just be getting worse. I'm from near the area that this was filmed, and I've started to notice I'm seeing more and more obese people just every single day. I'm glad Laura and Doreen got the help they needed, but to everyone else who isn't so lucky to get clinical help, I would recommend starting the journey on your own. Improve your diet one step at a time and don't let your past define who you are now. Now if you want to see some more British weight loss shows who look at the younger side of the obesity scale, click the video that's on your screen now to see my video about junk food kids in the UK. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and the Fattest Kitchen, and I'll see you in the next one.